First one is temporary resolution 48-25, a resolution to authorize the Service Safety Director to participate in the Ohio Public Works Commission state capital improvement and/or local transportation improvement programs to execute contracts as required and to declare an emergency. This is coming from Public Works Committee and Councilman Tiener.
Yes, I'm going to have Kurt come up and explain this. This is something we really need to get past so we can move ahead with the project.
Good evening. So last fall, or maybe even last summer, we came to you for legislation to apply for a grant for the OPWC money for Arbor Valley Drive. What we failed to put in that legislation was that we were authorized to enter into agreements, which we need to get the grant. So the folks that are awarding the project let me know that the legislation that we gave them last fall was missing that permission to enter into an agreement. So in order to get that back quickly so that we might get those grant monies, we've asked for emergency and one reading to enter into the agreement that I think we're going to get. Any questions?
Maggie?
Nope.
Thank you.
Nope, I don't. Corey Schooner will be my second.
And I believe you're going to ask for suspension
Tonight, if that's okay with everybody, so we can get this in so we can.
Any real objections from council? Okay, thanks, Kurt.
All right.
Temporary resolution 49-25, a resolution to increase receipts and appropriate from the unencumbered balance, amend the certificate of other sources and appropriations with the county auditor in the general fund 1001 for the one-time strategic community investment grant program and to declare an emergency. This is coming from Finance Committee. And who's going to speak on that?
Chairman Wolfinger, I'm happy to
Oh, I
speak to
didn't
that if
see you
you'd
there.
like.
Okay.
I was hiding.
You're behind the mayor. I looked down, you're not there.
So this is a grant that was actually written last year by our Community Development Director, Linda Berkey-Disser, who I saw out in the audience. So huge thanks to her for writing this grant. So now it is actually time for us to receive the grant and receive the funds. And to do that, we needed to do legislation to accept the money and appropriate the money.
Very good. Any questions? And Councilman Sala, you be my second, and we'll do 3 readings. Thank you. Temporary resolution 50-25, a resolution to authorize the Service Safety Director to dispense with competitive bidding for a sole source provider contract for membrane replacement for the South Water Plant coming from Water Pollution Control. Councilman Wing.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to invite Denise Cruz up here to give a little bit of a background on this piece, but essentially this begins the process of rotation to replace the membranes of the North and South water plants.
South.
Yes, South.
You said North.
Oh, yes, South, excuse me. Yep.
Good evening. It's because it started at the North Water Plant. A couple months ago, we looked at switching the membranes that we were going to install at the North Water Plant, and that turned into a bigger issue than we expected. But in the meantime, the membrane manufacturer was willing to give us a good deal on the membranes that we could use at the South Water Plant. So those membranes are the original membranes from 2002. The membrane manufacturer is very interested in that because they want to know why they lasted so long. So this will allow us to buy approximately 500 membranes. I think it's slightly under, and start a membrane replacement plan at the South Water Plant. So over the next several years, we'll be buying membranes and change out each skid as we go along, and then we'll switch and do the North Water Plant. So this is actually going to turn into an ongoing project as part of our asset management program. But in this case, we're asking you to allow us to buy from a sole source provider. They're the only company that makes these membranes, and let us get started on that.
Okay. Your second.
Oh, yes, it'll be 3 readings, and Councilwoman Teeter will be my second.
Okay,
I think we
perfect.
have a question.
Oh, I didn't see it, okay.
I have a quick question. You mentioned that the current membranes are from 2002, and that's longer than the normal lifespan. What is the typical lifespan?
A normal lifespan would be 7 to 10 years. Part of the reason they lasted so long at the South Water Plant was we weren't running the plant at full capacity. So we had membranes in storage down there that we've started to use. So those membranes are probably, they were stored for a long time and put in, so they're probably 5 to 7 years old in operation as Darren rotates through the.
At the full-time
Or-
capacity?
Hmm?
At full capacity?
So there's 4 skids down there. They each have membranes in them, and he rotates the skids.
Got
So
it.
it's not at full capacity, but he's using each skid now.
Okay, thank you. That's all I had.
Any other questions? Yep. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Next is temporary resolution 5125, a resolution stating the services to be provided by the municipal corporation to the annexed territory of Ewing Woods LLC for the expedited type 2 annexation of parcel number 02700360000, consisting of 0.605 plus or minus acres in Pleasant Township, and to declare an emergency. Coming from Economic Development Committee, Councilman Hope.
Yes, thank you. This is a tiny piece of land that the owner decided to sell last minute. So they're going to annex it so it doesn't create an island. And so this is just the first step by adopting a statement of services provided by Lancaster. And it's along Sheridan Drive.
Okay.
And there's, Director Hall, is there anything else?
No, I would just note the names look different because previously it was Hodge and Underhill doing this annexation on behalf of themselves as the developers, but now they have a residential developer attached. That's Casto Residential Development, and they have named the project Ewing Woods LLC. So the petitioner is different just because they now have moved to the point where they have a residential developer for the project. Okay, thanks.
Thank you. And so this is going to be just one reading because of the timing. And Mr. Wing will be my second.
Okay, very good. Any other questions? Concerns? Thank you. Temporary resolution 52-25, a resolution to amend permit resolution 21-25, authorizing the Service Safety Director to advertise for bids and enter into a contract for the construction of a maintenance and storage facility for use by the Lancaster Fire Department, and to declare an emergency. Coming from the Safety Committee, Councilman Bizjak.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Councilmember Teener is going to be my second on the legislation. What this legislation is seeking to do is essentially increase the upper limit of what can be spent on this project from $360,000 to $660,000. I do want to emphasize that this legislation is not an appropriation. It's just increasing that limit, mainly because the bid that came in from Eversol Builders came in for about $599,000. So that's what's going to happen. I am going to ask for suspension for the second and third readings tonight once it proceeds to the full body. But that's what's happening with this legislation.
Okay.
This money, though, this is unbudgeted money, correct?
Correct.
So this is unbudgeted money from the 251 account, taxpayer dollars. And as Slade Schultz here, because I have some questions to ask. So,
He's coming up now.
Yeah.
so how big is this?
How big is this building? What's the square footage?
Well, good evening, and thank you for the question. The structure that we are wanting to build behind Station 3 is a 4,800 square foot whole building, built to commercial standards, a little bit different than someone might build behind their house. Thicker concrete, reinforced, with heating and some of the infrastructure for welding and some of the maintenance things that we'll need to be doing in the building.
So where are you doing the maintenance now on the vehicles?
Well, last Tuesday, we had an issue with Pump 8, our reserve truck. A drain was clogged up and it was leaking water. So Assistant Chief Moore changed clothes, got on a creeper, and was underneath the truck out in front of Engine House 3. Fortunately, it was a nice day out, so he was able to do that without it raining or being real cold out. While they also did some maintenance to the wireless headset system. So right now, wherever we can find space, but the most recent example was on the ground in front of Station 3.
Okay, but you've been inside of haven't you been inside of a building before doing work? Wasn't there a building you guys were talking about? You could do maintenance inside of a building?
The building that we're asking to build, correct?
No, another building that you guys have been doing maintenance in. Because I thought I remembered when we had our meetings, you guys said there was a building you guys were able to use.
That is correct. There's a building that the city, I don't know the history of how we acquired them. There were along Lawrence Street right by the wastewater treatment plant. The building itself is barely big enough to get the fire apparatus in and close the doors. We have no running water, no facilities, no bathrooms down there. So it's not conducive to do maintenance, but if we had to find a place out of the rain, I guess we could.
Okay, because I thought there was something, this is just kind of my problem. This is over $500,000.
That's correct.
And is there any way that you could go down from 4,800 square foot to lessen the cost? Because, you guys also want a firehouse, and I'm hearing it's up to 3 firehouses you want, not just one. And this is taxpayer dollars. This is unbudgeted money. And this 251, isn't the police department in this budget too? And that their money's in there also?
Okay, well, I'll try to address all your questions. One, with the 3 firehouses, the strategic plan I've asked for is relocating 2. As for the size of the building, no. The building is being kept under 5,000 square foot because Ohio Fire Code and building codes will require a suppression system and would add $100,000 to $200,000 to the cost. By building it where we're at, we were able to eliminate the needs for a restroom, some things like that because it's right next to the firehouse. 4,800 square foot gives us enough room to have 4 bays. That's 4 bays, one to put the brand new smokehouse that we purchased in this year that it was a $110,000 investment.
Another purchase from last year, yes.
When the new medic arrives later in July, we'll have an area to put 2 medics because we're going to put them back to back. So we're down to having 2 spaces left. Excuse me. And then we have 1 back reserve fire engine. So that leaves me 1 empty bay. So for future growth or for another fire apparatus, so we could keep it in reserve, it's still in good working order, it would be nice to keep that 1 extra bay open. As far as the funds, yes, it was budgeted at $360,000 based on our best guess when this project began back in October of 2023. We proceeded and had support of council to purchase property next door. So it was difficult for us to know exactly how much site work was going to be involved with the project when we were kind of initially budgeting for it. So the 360 wasn't a 247, which is a fire levy account a safety levy between police and fire. The 251 has the most carryover of the 3 levy budgets that I have available to me and was the budget that I was asked to put in legislation.
Okay, so now we'll go back to the police. So that is part of their budget also that you're taking out of?
It is the safety forces budget,
The
yes,
safety
ma'am.
forces budget. Now, last year, and I'm going to go back, you mentioned the firehouse, thank you, the smokehouse. That was purchased last year. That was over $100,000.
Yes, it was.
Okay, and not to mention, I remember last year somebody took the PNC card, spent $24,000 on workout equipment for the firehouses. It just seems like there's just always constantly something going on here with the money, and the police department, my goodness, they got a garage door for the firehouse or the police station that was over 45 years old, and some people lost their crap over that. But I think this is a want and not a need, in my opinion. And if you guys want firehouses and all this stuff, this is taxpayer dollars. And this is unbudgeted. I would just suggest maybe wait until the budget in December and, try again. This is just money that, what happened if something else comes up you're going to need? I just don't think this is necessary. I really don't.
Well, in the budget that I inherited from the last administration, excuse me, we do build in contingencies for these unexpected things that come up. This was a project that we've been working on for over 2 years, and it was underestimated. And I have respect for, the idea of waiting until the first of the year, but as everybody knows, they see the prices of construction, impacts of tariffs on some of the materials. This is just going to cost the taxpayers more money by waiting until next year, potentially.
Tom, you and I have been on council together for quite a while. I mean, I'm going to channel him. Can you explain anything about like the 251 accounts or anything like that?
Well, I think we're actually talking about piece 53, not piece 52, right? Because 53 is the one where we're appropriating more money, right?
Yep.
This is basically upping the bid price, so
Right.
we're talking about 53.25. So, all right, since you asked, I'm going to give you my honest opinion. Last year, Steve Maffin stood at that podium and had an overtime issue, okay? And I can't remember, it was either 180 or 300.
The first one was over 100,000.
What was it? Does anyone remember the number? It was a big number.
On what?
Last year, the overtime issue with fire.
It was over
a big number
100,000.
that I remember I had asked him, well, what's your next surprise coming for the council in 2024? But it was a big number. It was 6 digits.
It was a big number.
Yep. And so, and Chief, I understand you inherited the budget, but at the end of the day, what's the point of a budget if we don't adhere to it, right? And I don't disagree with what Becky just said as far as about being a want being meaning so much that if you waited until next year and got it appropriated at that time, you're still going to do the project. Yeah, potentially it could cost more, and potentially it couldn't, right? We can always walk up there and say that. But my personal opinion is it's a budget problem. And you're asking, and Joe, that's not true. It is a reappropriation of new money, or an appropriation of new money in 53, which I'm sure is you're going to talk about next. So it is money that wasn't in the budget. So let's not play pretend, okay? It is a new appropriation for $300,000. Now, unfortunately for me, I didn't have money, so I couldn't consider these things on a want basis. We did everything on a need basis, and you know that because you were here. All right, now we're in a position where we're flush with cash. And the only thing I'd say are 2 things. It's a budget for a reason. All right, and if we let people come and run to the podium for more money, we just gave water department another $500,000, right? And we didn't get really a full answer to Christina's questions, which was, are we at full capacity? Well, no, we're not at full capacity, but we're running all 4 skids. Well, what capacity are we? Are we at 50%? Are we at 60%? Are we at 70%? What are we? She deserves an answer. So since you asked the question, and I formerly was the finance chairman, my fundamental issue with this is you live with the budget that you have. Not your fault, but if they give you, and I have no vote here, then we're basically saying last year's MAFN problem 1 was okay, and we're also now saying last year problem MAFN 2 is okay. And if I was sitting in that chair, and I never will, but I wouldn't even have had it introduced. That's my honest opinion.
Yeah.
So.
And, I kind of budget like with the city. I think about, even at my home, what can I afford? What can I not? What's norm? What is, I haven't had cable television for 20 years because I can't afford it. And I know that's a little thing to mention. But I just don't think, to me, I mean, it's like want and give. And I think some things we just kind of need to backtrack on and just kind of wait, I mean, I was okay with the other amount, but I just think this $500,000 is a lot.
Mr. Chair, I just want to clarify, I'm only speaking about 5225, which was not an appropriation. I understand 5325 is an appropriation. I was only speaking to 5225. So I just want to clarify that for the record. I do understand the difference between the legislation.
Oh, sorry.
So I just wanted to make that clear to everybody in the room. So thank you.
Chairman Wolfinger, if I could.
Yes.
So I can't disagree with either point Becky made or Tom made, but what I would say is this. No one I've spoken with, including Tom, disputes the building is necessary. Why is the building necessary? Yeah, we've got a building that we can barely fit our apparatus in down off Lawrence Street that has no facilities to do anything with. We have firefighters laying out in the weather, working on vehicles in all kinds of inclement weather. We got lucky last week. There are times when they're out there underneath in the pouring rain just to make sure the apparatus is ready to go. Our backup fire apparatus are stored off-site. So we have to go to another location to get apparatus to respond to a call should the number one primary vehicle be down. I think it's a safe bet that if we wait to next year, I don't know that anyone in this room can dispute that the price is going up. That's taxpayer money. We have money in the 2051 budget available to the safety forces to pay for this. If council chooses to wait till next year, that's fine. I can respect that. But think about what we need as a facility upgrade to house multi-million-dollar apparatus that we want to make sure are there when we need them. Now I've got to get into a probably, Chief, how do you go pick up a backup apparatus when your primary one's down?
It takes at least two people, and then we have to go down, we access the building. When we have, a driver to take us there, to open the building up, grab the apparatus, and then take it to whatever location that it might be needed at.
In the meantime, the emergency is still ongoing?
That is correct. When we have an emergency call in, and this happens when there's a large incident that will be tied up for a while, the fire department doesn't stop receiving 911 calls for service. So we'll call in the medic unit, which is behind Medic 3 at Station 3, ready to go. The fire apparatus, however, is not that quick to put in service. We have to go pick it up, bring it back to the firehouse. When we get enough people, everybody's gone, we need at least two of those people with an extra vehicle just to go pick it up and bring it to the firehouse to put firemen and the needed equipment on it.
So my opinion is, I can't disagree that the budget was not appropriately funded for this piece, this budget item. However, I think we look at the price, and I think Safety Committee spoke about this. It appears to be a fair price for the product we're requesting. It is actually cut down to the point where there's no amenities inside this building. It is what we need to store these vehicles, work on these vehicles, and respond appropriately to requests for service. We can walk out a back door and get that backup apparatus and be gone on the 911 call, whatever it might be. I understand the concerns. I can't disagree with them. But I think if we want to talk about taxpayer money, we can spend it today and save, or we're likely to spend, this is nothing but a gut, but another 10% next year. So, for your consideration.
I was just going to ask about, 48, so how many bays did you say is going to be there?
4.
Well, again, can you refigure and cut it down? Do you have to have 4? I mean, seriously, I understand what you said, but, do you need 4?
I don't know how much that would take off the price.
Well,
Councilman
that's
Keener.
maybe we should wait and you come back and tell us.
Well, the need for 4 is right now I have one fire engine, but when council was generous enough to purchase another fire engine, we're going to have 2 in reserve. That takes that 4th bay. So I can sell one of those that's still in good reserve status, or start putting more trucks outside. But I'll have that 4th bay full potentially by the end of 2026 when the new fire apparatus arrives.
2026 is 2020.
That's the end of next year.
Yeah, and that's another thing, we just appropriate another engine. So, I just really think you don't need 4 bays. You could refigure things. You could do something to cut it down, but when you got
have a
people's
question.
cash.
Just a comment. After our committee meeting, I went over to the engineer's office and reviewed the drawings as an architect. And after seeing the drawings and what's going into the building, the price that we got for it is a very competitive price. I agree with everything that the mayor said, and I understand where you guys are coming from, but I can only tell you that prices are going to be higher if we wait.
Could be.
And the price, well.
Maybe. You never know. I don't know.
Yeah.
You have a question?
I do not have a question, but a comment, just for clarification. One, the building that they are using on South Lawrence, One, it is out of the way, but two, it does not belong to the fire department. It's actually a water pollution control building. So I just wanted to clarify, it's not like the fire department actually has a building. They're just, water pollution was trying to squeeze them in and find them a place to temporarily store some stuff because there was nowhere to put it. So this has been an ongoing need for many, many years. And then I also wanted to just clarify that the building itself did come in at the original budgeted price. However, what we didn't plan for in the previous budget was the actual site work to go with the building. And that, even with a smaller building, I don't know that you're going to see much of a cost savings because a lot of it is in concrete. They have to use
I understand
6-inch
that.
concrete, and that's a really large bulk of the price. So I appreciate, Councilman Teener, your thoughts on a smaller blueprint, but I don't know that it would really save that much. And I also just, again, wanted to clarify that the building itself came in what we thought it was supposed to be. We just forgot to anticipate the site work, and we weren't expecting that. So, thank you, Chairman Bullfinger.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you. Well, I guess you might as well hang out.
Well, you just explained the other one.
I'm sorry.
You just explained the other one, too.
Okay. Next is temporary resolution 5325, a resolution to appropriate from the unencumbered balance in the .45 police and fire levy 2021 fund 2051. The amended certificate of appropriations with the Fairfield County Auditor and to declare an emergency coming from Finance Committee. Mr. Ailes, you'll be the second.
Yes.
And I showed 2 readings, and this has been pretty well discussed, I believe. Any other comments you wish to make, or anybody else?
Were you able to call all the council people and talk to them about it? Were you able to get a hold of everyone?
I was able to speak with 9 of the 10 council members present tonight.
Thank you.
Okay. That is it for the resolutions. Ordinances, we have one tonight, temporary ordinance 26-25, an ordinance to accept a petition for the annexation of 0.605 plus or minus acres in Pleasant Township to consent to annexation and declare an emergency, coming from the Economic Development Committee. Councilman Hope.
Yes, this I just wanted to make a correction. This can go 3 readings. It was 1. But this is a companion piece to temporary resolution 5125, and it's to accept the annex and proceed with the process. Well, Director Hall, is there anything else?
Yeah, I just wanted to explain. So normally, we do an ordinance to accept a petition for annexation to signal that we are accepting the petition for annexation, and because we have agreed to accept it per the pre-annexation agreement. I didn't do a pre-annexation piece for this annexation because, like Councilwoman Hoop explained earlier, the land around it had already been annexed, right? There were 2 chunks. One was a 45-acre chunk, and then one was a 5-acre chunk, and there was a pre-annexation agreement on both of those. So I didn't anticipate this .605 acres being an issue. My office manager put it in for 1 reading because that's normally what we do. We have 25 days to accept a petition based on the expedited type 2 annexation law. But again, here it doesn't really make a difference because we didn't do a pre-annexation agreement. There's no issue with actually accepting the annexation. So if you wanted to go 3 readings, you can go 3 readings. If you wanted to go 2 readings, you can go 2 readings. If you wanted to go 1, you can go 1. Doesn't make a difference, but that's why it says 1, because typically that is what we do. We have 25 days, but here we can work with that a little bit. Thanks.
Councilman Hoop, your preference?
I say stick with 3.
Hmm?
I say stick with, well, is there an issue because it says 1?
No.
No. So I say, being a rule follower, let's do 3 readings.
You could do 3?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And
And
then Mrs. Kreitz is my second.
Okay, thank you. That concludes the legislation for tonight. Any departmental updates? I see no one walking. Tonight's meeting prep, President Porter.
Thank you, Chairman Wolfinger. We have 15 resolutions on for tonight's meeting, along with 2 ordinances. We have no special presentations this evening.
Okay, thank you. And any other items for Finance Committee that anybody wishes to discuss? I see no hands, and so I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
All right, we had Tom
Did you
over here.
second?
So all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, we are adjourned, and it is 6:30 on the button.
All right. Tonight's regular council meeting will convene promptly at 6:35.
The Frankie Smith Funeral Home and Crematory in Lancaster and the Johnson Smith Funeral Home in Baltimore have a long and wonderful history of serving our community. Feel free to give us a call at 740-653-0652. Stop in and see us at either of our 2 locations, 405 North Columbus Street in Lancaster and 207 South Main Street in Baltimore. Respect for tradition, regard for change.
Hi, I'm Travis Markwood from the Lancaster Fairfield County Chamber of Commerce. Our focus is support, grow, build community, and add value as we educate and advocate local business organizations. This month, we are really excited to be chosen as the recipient of the Buckeye Cares program. That means Buckeye will make a generous donation to us with every vehicle they sell this month. From all of us at the Lancaster Fairfield County Chamber of Commerce, we say thank you, Buckeye.
Please rise if you're able and join me in a moment of prayer. God, grant us the serenity to accept the things that we cannot change, the courage to change the things we can, and finally, the wisdom to know the difference. I'll call the May 19th, 2025 Lancaster City Council meeting to order. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please call the roll.
Mr. Ailes?
Here.
Mr. Bizjack?
Here.
Mrs. Kreitz?
Here.
Mrs. Hoop?
Here.
Mr. Leuchtenberg? Mr. Schoonover?
Here.
Mr. Sully?
Here.
Ms. Teener?
Here.
Mr. Wing?
Here.
And Mr. Wolfinger?
Here.
Let the record reflect that all 10 members of Lancaster City Council are present this evening. Excuse me. Reading and disposing of the journal.
Regular meeting minutes dated May 5th, 2025.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to receive and file the journal.
Second?
We have a motion and a second to receive and file the journal. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Now move to the reports of city officials.
Email dated May 5th regarding 2025 regarding Republic Service Contract Public Records request, responded by Sanitation Superintendent Sean Fowler. Email dated May 13th, 2025 regarding Ewing Woods LLC expedited type 2 petition for annexation submitted by Law Director Hall and Office Manager Liz Martins. Email dated May 16, 2025, call to action, testimony needed of utility payment bills submitted by Law Director Hall.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to receive and file the reports of city officials.
Second?
We have a motion and a second to receive and file the reports of city officials. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Communications.
Email dated May 5th, 2025 regarding liquor license for KS 117 LLC doing business as Pit Stop in Lancaster submitted by High Division of Liquor Control. Mail dated May 5th, 2025 regarding application to adjust its distribution rates for the Public Utilities Commission of Ohio submitted by Ohio Power Company AEP. Email dated May 6, 2025 regarding rezoning parcel 027003600 submitted by Amy Finn with Casto. Email dated May 6, 2025 regarding Republic Services Contract Public Records request submitted by Jake Heffron with Rumpke. Email dated May 13, 2025 regarding public records requests for digitized building plans and or other documents for Fair Play Pizza Theater submitted by Benjamin Braun. Email dated May 5th, May 19th, 2025 regarding Guide to Ohio Medicaid submitted by Sarah Brecken with Single Care.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to receive and file the communications.
Second?
We have a motion and a second to receive and file the communications. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. We have no special presentations or awards this evening. We have no petitions and memorials. We now reach the time in our meeting for permission of voters and taxpayers to address council. You have 3 minutes to address council. You do need to sign in at the podium and state your name and address before you begin your
Yes,
discussion.
members of council, thank you. My name is Amy Schleich, and I live on Lanrico Boulevard, and I did not know we were going to get into such a healthy discussion about fire equipment, but I came up because for the last 2 weeks, I wanted to commend the fire chief and the fire personnel for 2 different things that happened over the past 2 weeks. One is I do have the group for individuals that are disabled and their parents and providers, and we had fire safety as kind of a issue, just like we met with the police to talk about safety. And if there's an emergency, we had the same with fire personnel. They brought the truck. Even though my son was not able to voice a question, he was able to follow all around the truck and all around the medic. And so he was able to understand and see everything. more importantly, they responded to a fire at my home. So I would not want them to have to wait to go get another fire truck because every minute does count. And I was just going to give a healthy reminder to people that are driving, especially when there's construction and you're down to one lane on Main Street and you're blocking fire vehicles, that it's, you know, it's really important that you get to the side. But they came, they were very calming, and I'm a very prepared person. I used 2 fire blankets and a fire extinguisher, and I was not able to get it out. So thank you very much, because they were able to take care of it. And so I helped contain it, but I could not get the fire out. So I do appreciate them, and that's all I wanted to say. So thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that wishes to address council at this time? Seeing none, we thank you for coming in, attending tonight's meeting. Reports of standing committees.
I have 5 Finance Committee meeting minutes dated May 5th, 2025, submitted by Mr. Wolfinger. Safety Committee minutes dated May 10th, 2025, submitted by Mr. Bizjack. Finance Committee agenda dated May 16th, 2025, submitted by Mr. Wolfinger. Water Pollution Committee agenda dated May 17th, 2025, submitted by Mr. Wing. And Law Committee agenda dated May 19th, 2025, submitted by Mrs. Kreitz.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to receive and file the reports of standing committees.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to receive and file the reports of standing committees. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Reports of special committees.
There are no reports.
There are no public hearings this evening. We will now move on to the reading of resolutions, with the third reading of resolutions beginning with temporary resolution 3825.
A resolution to authorize the Service Safety Director to enter into an agreement for engineering services associated with flow monitoring and to be conducted within the River Valley Highlands Subdivision sanitary sewer system. This is through Water Pollution Committee, Ms. Wing and Mr. Wing and Ms. Teener. I'm so sorry.
Councilmember Wing. Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to make a motion that council pass, engross, and enter upon the written record temporary resolution number 38-25.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to pass, engross, and enter upon the written record temporary resolution 3825. Discussion, Councilmember Wing.
Yes, this is the authorization for the sanitary sewer flow monitoring study in the River Valley Highlands. $250,000 is the authorization, and that does include some contingency in case we go through some dry periods. So, as I said before, pray for rain.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Mr. Ailes?
Yes.
Mr. Bizjack?
Yes.
Mrs. Kreitz?
Yes.
Mrs. Hoop?
Yes.
Mr. Luchtenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Schoonover?
Yes.
Mr. Solly?
Yes.
Ms. Teener?
Yes.
Mr. Wing?
Yes.
And Mr. Wolf?
Yes.
Temporary resolution passes 10-0. Temporary resolution 3925.
A resolution to increase receipts, appropriate funds in the wastewater reserve fund 6029, amend the certificate of other sources and appropriations with the county auditor, and to authorize payment of bills with then and now certificates for the Ohio Water Development Loan for the solids handling facility upgrade project. This is through Water Pollution Committee, Mr. Wing and Mr. Ailes.
Councilmember Wing.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to make a motion that council pass, engross, and enter upon the written record temporary resolution number 39-25.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to pass, engross, and enter upon the written record temporary resolution 3925. Discussion, Councilmember Wing.
Yes, this just appropriates the funds for the solids handling facility on Lawrence Street from the wastewater reserve fund.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Mr. Ailes?
Yes.
Mr. Bizjack?
Yes.
Mrs. Kreitz?
Yes.
Mrs. Hoop?
Yes.
Mr. Luchtenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Schoonover?
Yes.
Mr. Solly?
Yes.
Ms. Teener?
Yes.
Mr. Wing?
Yes.
And Mr. Wolfinger?
Yes.
Temporary resolution 3925 passes 10-0. Temporary resolution 4025.
A resolution to increase receipts, appropriate funds in the Stormwater Utility Reserve Fund 6019, amend the certificate of other sources and appropriations with the county auditor, and authorize payments of bills within and now certificates for the Ohio Water Development Loan for the East Main Street Sewer Separation Project. Again, this is through Water Pollution Committee, Mr. Wing and Ms. Teener.
Councilmember Wing.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to make a motion that council pass, engross, and enter upon the written record temporary resolution number 40-25.
Second?
We have a motion and a second to pass, engross, and enter upon the written record temporary resolution 4025. Discussion, Councilmember Wing.
Yes, similar to last piece, this appropriates money from the Stormwater Utility Reserve Fund for the East Main Street Sewer Separation Project.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Mr. Ailes?
Yes.
Mr. Bizjack?
Yes.
Mrs. Kreitz?
Yes.
Mrs. Hoop?
Yes.
Mr. Luchtenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Schoonover?
Yes.
Mr. Sully?
Yes.
Ms. Teener?
Yes.
Mr. Wing?
Yes.
And Mr. Wolfinger?
Yes.
Temporary resolution 4025 passes 10-0. Temporary resolution 4125.
A resolution to authorize the Service Safety Director to dispense with competitive bidding due to a sole source provider for membrane replacement for the Upper Hocking Water Pollution Control Facility. Again, this is through Water Pollution Committee, and then Mr. Wing and Mr. Ailes.
Councilmember Wing.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion that council pass, engross, and enter upon the written record temporary resolution number 41-25.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to pass, engross, and enter upon the written record temporary resolution 4125. Discussion, Councilmember Wing.
Yes, now that phase 2 of the Upper Hocking plant is up and running, it's time to replace the membranes in phase 1. And the need for this piece is because those membranes are only produced by MEMCOR.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Mr. Ailes?
Yes.
Mr. Bizjack?
Yes.
Mrs. Kreitz?
Yes.
Mrs. Hoop?
Yes.
Mr. Luchtenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Schoonover?
Yes.
Mr. Sully?
Yes.
Ms. Teener?
Yes.
Mr. Wing?
Yes.
And Mr. Wolfinger?
Yes.
Temporary resolution 4125 passes 10-0. Temporary resolution 4225.
A resolution to authorize the City of Lancaster to apply for funding from the Ohio Department of Development for CHIP programs funds. This is through Economic Development Committee, Mrs. Hoop and Mrs. Kreitz.
Councilmember Hoop.
Yes, Mr. President, I would like to make a motion that council pass, engross, and enter upon the written record temporary resolution 42-25.
Second. Sorry.
We have a motion and a second to pass, engross, and enter upon the written record temporary resolution 4225. Councilmember Hoop, any discussion?
No, this is just to apply for the 2026 cycle for the CHIP funding.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Mr. Ailes?
Yes.
Mr. Bizjack?
Yes.
Mrs. Kreitz?
Yes.
Mrs. Hoop?
Yes.
Mr. Luchtenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Schoonover?
Yes.
Mr. Sully?
Yes.
Ms. Teener?
Yes.
Mr. Wing?
Yes.
And Mr. Wolfinger?
Yes.
Temporary resolution 4225 passes 10-0. Temporary resolution 4325.
A resolution to amend the certificate of appropriations with the county auditor, appropriate from the unencumbered balance, increase receipts, complete a fund transfer in the CDBG loan repay revolving account fund 2075 and in the community development block grant fund 2073 and declare an emergency. This is through Economic Development Committee, Mrs. Hoop and Mr. Wing.
Councilmember Hoop.
Yes, Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion that council pass, engross, and enter upon the written record temporary resolution 43-25.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to pass, engross, and enter upon the written record temporary resolution 4325. Discussion, Councilmember Hoop.
No, this is just, we have to spend program income before the grant money, so we're putting this money into the budget so that it can be spent.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Mr. Ailes?
Yes.
Mr. Bizjack?
Yes.
Mrs. Kreitz?
Yes.
Mrs. Hoop?
Yes.
Mr. Luchtenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Schoonover?
Yes.
Mr. Sully?
Yes.
Ms. Teener?
Yes.
Mr. Wing?
Yes.
And Mr. Wolfinger?
Yes.
Temporary resolution 4325 passes 10-0. Temporary resolution 4525.
A resolution to appropriate from the unencumbered balance in the general fund 1001, increase receipts, appropriate from the unencumbered balance in the health insurance management fund 7022, and amend the certificate of appropriations with the county auditor. This is through Administrative Services Committee, Mr. Luchtenberg and Mr. Bizjack.
Councilmember Luchtenberg.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to make a motion that council pass, engross, and enter upon the written record resolution number 45-25.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to pass, engross, and enter upon the written record temporary resolution 4525. Discussion, Councilmember Luchtenberg.
Yes, thank you, sir. This year, we've had an unusual number of life insurance claims from the city employees, and this amount will help cover for those and hopefully any future that come in this year.
Thank you. you. Any further discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Mr. Ailes?
Yes.
Mr. Bizjack?
Yes.
Mrs. Kreitz?
Yes.
Mrs. Hoop?
Yes.
Mr. Lochtenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Schoonover?
Yes.
Mr. Sully?
Yes.
Ms. Teener?
Yes.
Mr. Wing?
Yes.
And Mr. Wolfinger?
Yes.
Temporary Resolution 4525 passes 10-0. We'll now move on to the second reading of resolutions, beginning with Temporary Resolution 4625.
A resolution to approve Lancaster's fiscal year 2025 Community Development Block Grant Annual Action Plan and Statement of Objectives, and to authorize the mayor to submit the same to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. This is through Economic Development Committee, Mrs. Hoop and Mr. Schoonover.
Councilmember Hoop.
Yes, this is second of 3 readings.
Second of 3 readings on Temporary Resolution 4625. Temporary Resolution 4725.
A resolution to increase receipts, appropriate from the unencumbered balance, and to amend the certificate of other sources and appropriation with the county auditor in the Timber Top TIF Fund 3060. This is through Finance Committee, Mr. Wolfinger and Mr. Ailes.
Councilmember Wolfinger.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to make a motion to suspend the rules and waive the third reading on temporary resolution number 47-25.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to
We got
suspend.
2 seconds.
Yeah, yeah,
He wasn't here, and I.
yeah.
He has to be the second on this
Okay.
one.
Sorry.
It's okay.
That's
Mr.
okay.
Ailes, it's okay.
So Mr. Ailes is the second. Yeah, exactly. So we have the motion to suspend. Any discussion? Councilmember Wolfinger.
Just briefly, this is an adjustment for the auditor's office, $153,482.41 was needed to be put in the account from last year. And if Auditor Nettles has a question, comment.
Sorry, I apologize. We were going over something, but what was that? I'm so sorry.
No, you're okay. We're just on the motion to suspend at this point. Is there any, on temporary resolution 4725, was there anything you needed to add in relation to that one?
No.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Wolfing. Any further discussion on the motion to suspend? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Mr. Ailes?
Yes.
Mr. Bizjack?
Yes.
Mrs. Kreitz?
Yes.
Mrs. Hoop?
Yes.
Mr. Lochtenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Schoonover?
Yes.
Mr. Sully?
Yes.
Ms. Teener?
Yes.
Mr. Wing?
Yes.
And Mr. Wolfinger?
Yes.
The motion to suspend the rules and waive the third reading of temporary resolution 4725 passes 10-0. Councilmember Wolfinger.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to make a motion the council pass, engross, and enter upon the written record temporary resolution 47-25.
Second.
A motion and a second, pass, engross, and enter upon the written record temporary resolution 4725. Any further discussion?
No.
Thank you. Hearing none, please call the roll.
Mr. Ailes?
Yes.
Mr. Bizjack?
Yes.
Mrs. Kreitz?
Yes.
Mrs. Hoop?
Yes.
Mr. Lochtenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Schoonover?
Yes.
Mr. Sully?
Yes.
Ms. Teener?
Yes.
Mr. Wolfinger?
Yes.
I'm sorry, Mr. Wing.
Yes.
I jumped ahead, sorry.
Is that it?
That's it.
Okay, thank you. Temporary resolution 4725 passes 10-0. We'll now move on to the first reading of resolutions, beginning with temporary resolution 4825.
A resolution to authorize the Service Safety Director to participate in the Ohio Public Works Commission State Capital Improvement and/or Local Transportation Improvement Programs, to execute contracts as required, and to declare an emergency. This is through Public Works Committee, Ms. Teener and Mr. Schoonover.
Councilmember Teener.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion the council suspend its rules and waive the second and third reading of temporary resolution 4825.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to suspend the rules and waive the second and third reading of temporary resolution 4825. Any discussion on the motion to suspend?
I'll wait.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Mr. Ailes?
Yes.
Mr. Bizjack?
Yes.
Mrs. Kreitz?
Yes.
Mrs. Hoop?
Yes.
Mr. Lochtenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Schoonover?
Yes.
Mr. Sully?
Yes.
Ms. Teener?
Yes.
Mr. Wing?
Yes.
And Mr. Wolfinger?
Yes.
Motion to suspend the rules and waive the second and third reading of temporary resolution 4825 passes 10-0. Councilmember Teener.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to pass, that council pass, engross, and enter upon the written record temporary resolution 4825.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to pass, engross, and enter upon the written record temporary resolution 4825. Discussion, Councilmember Teener.
Yes, this was a piece for us to apply for a grant, and there was a piece missing, so this will allow us to go ahead and put this piece in place so we can hopefully get this grant for our project.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Mr. Ailes?
Yes.
Mr. Bizjack?
Yes.
Mrs. Kreitz?
Yes.
Mrs. Hoop?
Yes.
Mr. Luchtenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Schoonover?
Yes.
Mr. Sully?
Yes.
Ms. Teener?
Yes.
Mr. Wing?
Yes.
And Mr. Wolfinger?
Yes.
Motion to pass, engross, and enter upon the written record. Temporary resolution 4825 passes 10-0. We'll now move on to temporary resolution 4925.
A resolution to increase receipts, appropriate from the unencumbered balance, amend the certificate of other sources and appropriations with the county auditor in the general fund 1001 for the one-time strategic community investments grant program and to declare an emergency. This is through Finance Committee, Mr. Wolfinger and Mr. Sully.
Councilmember Wolfinger.
First of three readings.
First of three readings on temporary resolution 4925. Temporary resolution 50-25.
A resolution to authorize the Service Safety Director to dispense with competitive bidding for a sole source provider contract for membrane replacement for the South Water Plant. This is through Water Pollution Committee, Mr. Wing and Ms. Teener.
Councilmember Wing.
This will be the first of three readings.
First of three readings on temporary resolution 5025.
Mr. President,
Yes.
can I correct the record on this? I think it earlier stated that this is just a sole source request. The money for this request is in the water budget. So we're not asking for money, we're just asking for to be able to use a sole source provider. I just want to make sure that was clear.
Okay.
Thank you.
For that point of clarification. We'll now move on to temporary resolution 5125.
A resolution stating the services to be provided by the municipal corporation to the annexed territory of Ewing Woods LLC for the expedited type 2 annexation of parcel number 02700360000, consisting of 0.605 plus or minus acres in the Pleasant Township, and to declare an emergency. This is through Economic Development Committee, Mrs. Hoop and Mr. Wing.
Councilmember Hoop.
Yes, Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion that council suspend its rules and waive the second and third reading of temporary resolution 51-25.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to suspend the rules and waive the second and third reading of temporary resolution 5125. Any further discussion on the motion to suspend? Councilmember Hoop. Thank you. Hearing no further discussion, please call the roll.
Mr. Ailes?
Yes.
Mr. Bizjack?
Yes.
Mrs. Kreitz?
Yes.
Mrs. Hoop?
Yes.
Mr. Luchtenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Schoonover?
Yes.
Mr. Sully?
Yes.
Ms. Teener?
Yes.
Mr. Wing?
Yes.
And Mr. Wolfinger?
Yes.
Motion to suspend the rules and waive the second and third reading of temporary resolution 5125 passes 10-0. Councilmember Hoop.
Yes, Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion that council pass and gross and enter upon the written record temporary resolution 51-25.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to pass and gross and enter upon the written record temporary resolution 5125. Any discussion, Councilmember Hoop?
This was discussed in finance, but this is just to establish the services that the city will provide for the annexation off of Sheridan Drive.
Thank you very much. Any further discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Mr. Ailes?
Yes.
Mr. Bizjack?
Yes.
Mrs. Kreitz?
Yes.
Mrs. Hoop?
Yes.
Mr. Luchtenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Schoonover?
Yes.
Mr. Sully?
Yes.
Ms. Teener?
Yes.
Mr. Wing?
Yes.
And Mr. Wolfinger?
Yes.
Temporary resolution 5125 passes 10-0. Temporary resolution 5225.
A resolution to amend permanent resolution 21-25, authorizing the Service Safety Director to advertise for bids and enter into a contract for the construction of a maintenance and storage facility for use by the Lancaster Fire Department and declare an emergency. This is through Safety Committee, Mr. Bizjack and Ms. Teener.
Councilmember Bizjack.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that council suspend its rules and waive the second and third readings for temporary resolution 52-25.
Second?
We have a motion and a second to suspend the rules and waive the second and third reading of temporary resolution 5225. Any discussion on the motion to suspend?
No, Mr. President.
Thank you. Please call the roll.
Mr. Ailes?
Yes.
Mr. Bizjack?
Yes.
Mrs. Kreitz?
Yes.
Mrs. Hoop?
Yes.
Mr. Luchtenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Schoonover?
Yes.
Mr. Sully?
Yes.
Ms. Teener?
Yes.
Mr. Wing?
Yes.
And Mr. Wolfinger?
Yes.
Motion to suspend the rules and waive the second and third reading of temporary resolution 5225 passes 10-0. Councilmember Bizjack.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that council pass, engross, and enter upon the written record temporary resolution 52-25.
Second?
We have a motion and a second to pass, engross, and enter upon the written record temporary resolution 5225. Any discussion?
As we discussed in the Finance Committee, this is increasing the limit from $360,000 for the project to $660,000. This is not an appropriation. That is all. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Mr. Ailes?
Yes.
Mr. Bizjack?
Yes.
Mrs. Kreitz?
Yes.
Mrs. Hoop?
Yes.
Mr. Lochtenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Schoonover?
Yes.
Mr. Sully?
Yes.
Ms. Teener?
No.
Mr. Wing? And Mr. Wolfinger?
Yes.
Motion to pass, engross, and enter upon the written record temporary resolution 52-25 passes 9-1. Temporary resolution 5325.
A resolution to amend the permanent resolution, I'm sorry, 52?
5325.
53, okay, I apologize.
No.
A resolution to appropriate from the unencumbered balance in the .45 Police and Fire Levy Fund 2021, Fund 2051, to amend the certificate of appropriations with the Fairfield County Auditor and to declare an emergency. This is through Finance Committee, Mr. Wolfinger and Mr. Ailes.
Councilmember Wolfinger.
The first of two readings.
First of two readings on temporary resolution 5325. We'll now move on to the reading of ordinances. There are no third readings this evening. We will begin with the second reading of temporary ordinance 2525.
An ordinance to authorize the mayor to acquire the permanent and temporary right-of-way necessary for the East 6th Avenue Bridge over Fetters Run replacement project. This is through Public Works Committee, Ms. Teener and Mr. Leuchtenberg.
Councilmember Teener.
Second of three readings.
Second of three readings on temporary ordinance 2525. We'll now move on to the first reading, temporary ordinance 2625.
An ordinance to accept a petition for the annexation of 0.605 plus or minus acres in the Pleasant Township to consent to annexation and to declare an emergency. This is through Economic Development Committee, Mrs. Hoop and Mrs. Kreitz.
Councilmember Hoop.
First of three readings. Thank you.
First of three readings on temporary ordinance 2625. There's no tabled legislation this evening. We now move on to unfinished business. Is there any unfinished business before council this evening? Thank you. New business. Is there any new business before council this evening?
I have two notifications from the Ohio Division of Liquor Control for KBS 117 Inc., doing business as Pit Stop of Lancaster, permit number 4528805.
Law Director Hall, is there anything we need to do with that notification?
Yes, you either have to object to the renewal or you can agree to the renewal. I actually reached out to Chief Snyder over 2 weeks ago when we got the original notice and asked if there had been any incidents that you should be aware of when you're making that decision. And nobody had any incidents that they responded with. So I think you're probably good to go.
Okay, so do we need a motion or anything?
Sure. Yeah, just a motion, second, and then a vote, majority.
All right. Councilmember Schoonover, would you make a motion that we allow the renewal to proceed?
Yes.
Second.
I'll make that, well, let me make the motion. I'll make a motion that we
Thank you.
accept the renewal liquor license.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to accept the renewal of the liquor license as read by the clerk. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Thank you. Is there one more? Or is that it?
Was it?
Thank you. Okay. Announcements of scheduled meetings.
I have next regular sessions, council sessions, June 9th, 2025 at 6:30 p.m. here in council chambers. June 23rd, 2025 at 6:30 p.m. here in council chambers.
No special scheduled meetings. We'll move to regularly scheduled committee meetings.
I have Law Committee, May 23rd at 9 a.m., City Hall, 1897 Conference Room. I have Safety Committee meeting June 6th at 8 a.m., City Hall, 1897 Conference Room. Service Committee, June 13th at 8 a.m., City Hall 1897 conference room, and then water pollution control service meeting June 13th at 9 a.m. service, City Hall 1897 room.
Thank you. Reading of bills.
I have two for MNCO, one $109.86, and another one is for $165.78.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion, we pay the bills.
Second?
We have a motion and a second to pay the bills. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you. Bills are paid. No need for an executive session. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Mr. President, I'd like to make that motion, we adjourn.
Second?
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
This meeting of Lancaster City Council is adjourned. Please remember to sign your legislation before you leave.
No, that's fine. Don't make it too small.
Jesus.